I'm Dakota Makris. First at 4, earlier today, the Supreme Court overturned the landmark decision of Roe v. Wade guaranteeing the right to an abortion. Now, the practice is left up to the individual states. We have team coverage of how the decision and how it's affecting people here locally. Our Keaton Hall's in studio with reaction from lawmakers on what this means for Kentuckians.
That's right, Dakota. The Supreme Court's decision now means abortion is completely banned in Kentucky. The Commonwealth is one of only 3 states where a ban immediately goes into effect. And there are no exemptions for cases of rape or incest. The only abortions currently legal in the state of Kentucky are those to save the life of a patient or prevent a disabling injury. In November, Kentuckians will be able to vote on House Bill 2, whether to approve a constitutional amendment declaring there is no state right to abortion.
So it will be on the ballot in November, so the people of Kentucky, the people of our district, will be able to vote yes or no. Yes would be a vote for life, no would be a vote for pro-choice.
America is a very diverse country, and different states have different opinions about the way things should work, and that Kentucky has already made the decision that, the majority of our people did not want to have abortion available, and so now states can make their own decisions.
Now, physicians who perform an abortion or administer medication to terminate a pregnancy will be charged and prosecuted with a felony. Kentucky law says no charges will be brought against the pregnant individual. Of Kentucky's 7 surrounding states, as it stands, only Illinois and Virginia would continue to allow largely unrestricted abortion services. Dakota?
All right, Keaton, thank you. Pro-choice advocacy groups in eastern Kentucky are making their voices heard on the Supreme Court's ruling. Groups like Appalachians for Appalachia and All Access EKY hope to gather together to continue defending women's rights. Advocates say this creates a disadvantage for middle and lower class women.
The 1%, the upper class, they will still have access to safe abortions, and it'll be lower income rural women who won't, essentially.
And my understanding is one of the few places where abortion will be still legal is Illinois. Well, that's hundreds and hundreds of miles from eastern Kentucky. And anyone without a lot of income, is not going to be able to access that.
Pro-choice advocates also say they worry this decision will lead to more rights being taken away in the future. Now, members of the pro community are sharing their reaction to the news that one pastor described as decades in the making. And also officials with the Laurel County Life Center, an organization dedicated to helping young mothers and pregnant women manage the challenges of having a child. Well, they say this is big news, but just the first step on a long pro-life journey.
I saw that and I was like, wow, we absolutely just took a step spiritually in this country that would enable us to get back on the right track.
Our reaction is the same as it's always been. Our mission isn't changing. We're still going to continue to provide resources, provide free baby items, free parenting classes.
Taylor says that Laurel County Life Center's primary missions was never ending abortion, but helping vulnerable women build a better life for themselves and their children. Well, could overturning Roe v. Wade open the door for the Supreme Court to overturn precedents such as same-sex marriage and decisions about contraception? Supreme Court justices are already debating after the High Court voted to end abortion rights at the federal level. Justice Samuel Alito offered assurances those precedents were not at risk, but he was undercut by Justice Clarence Thomas, who explicitly called for the court to reconsider its rulings, striking down state restrictions on contraceptives, state sodomy bans, and state prohibitions on same-sex marriage, saying, quote, "We have a duty to correct the error established in those precedents." Well, it's exactly what liberal justices have feared. In their dissent, they wrote, "The right Roe and Casey recognized does not stand alone. The court has linked it for decades to other settled freedoms involving bodily integrity, familial relationships, and procreation."
Turning weather-wise this afternoon, it's been a rather warm day around the mountains yet again. As expected, of course, we're now in the heat of summer and we'll continue to see an increase in our temperature over the next couple of days. Outside right now, well, we've got a few low clouds on our high-knob camera at UVA-wise. We're still mostly sunny, but we're still keeping an eye on some of those clouds developing, bubbling up in the atmosphere, if you will. London Corbett Airport sits at 88. They've got plenty of sunshine there, but a cloud over the sun providing a little bit of cooling at the particular moment. Low 90s around the region. How about Hazard in Manchester and Jacksboro, joining Jonesville at 91, 90 in Williamsburg, and same thing in Somerset, 92 in Monticello, and many of our other reporting stations, at least in the upper 80s, some mid 80s as you head out toward the Big Sandy. Pinpoint Doppler's a clean sweep, though I will say not far from Wise and Norton is that one teeny tiny little shower that may be trying to bubble up. That's what you were seeing on that camera just a second ago. As you head up towards the mountains of North Carolina and Tennessee, that's where we're seeing a few showers erupt this afternoon, and we'll have the potential to see those increase not tonight but into tomorrow. For tonight, mid-60s, mostly clear and calm weather expected as we head through the nighttime hours. Now I've got the details on how warm it could still get in the next couple of days, plus the potential for more showers and storms returning to the forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Dakota?
All right, Evan, thank you. Multiple officials, including the former acting attorney general, told the January 6th committee that the former president tried to get Justice Department leaders to lie to the country about the vote. Well, when they would not do it, they say he'd try to replace them with someone who would. Robert Costa is on Capitol Hill.
He was willing to sacrifice our republic to prolong his presidency.
The January 6th committee on Thursday turned to top leaders of President Trump's own Justice Department to build the case against him.
And then I said, well, Mr. President, you're right that I'm not going to allow the Justice Department to do anything to try to overturn the election.
Jeffrey Rosen became the country's top law enforcement official on Christmas Eve 2020 after Attorney General William Barr resigned. And Rosen quickly got a call from the president.
He thought the election had been stolen or was corrupt and that there was widespread fraud. And I had told him that our reviews had not shown that to be the case.
Rosen's deputy, Richard Donahue, remembered the president saying,
"What I'm just asking you to do is just say it was corrupt and leave the rest to me and the Republican congressman."
Rosen refused, and within days, Trump pushed to replace him with Jeffrey Clark, a Trump loyalist and an environmental lawyer at the Justice Department. According to testimony, Clark planned to send certain states a controversial letter, falsely alleging that evidence of widespread election fraud existed. In a tense Oval Office meeting, Donahue warned Trump.
You could have hundreds and hundreds of resignations of the leadership of your entire Justice Department because of your actions. What's that going to say about you?
Ultimately, Trump didn't elevate Clark, who pleaded the Fifth over 125 times in a committee deposition. Early Wednesday morning, federal agents searched Clark's home, seizing electronic devices.
By my count, at one point, 12 agents and 2 Fairfax County police officers went into my house, searched it for 3.5 hours. They took all of the electronics from my house. Yeah, I think this is highly politicized.
As Rosen insisted on the independence of the Justice Department.
The Justice Department gets out of the role that it's supposed to play. That's really bad for our country.
The committee also made a revelation. 5 House Republicans sought pardons during the final days of the Trump administration. That list includes Congressman Mo Brooks of Alabama, Congressman Andy Biggs of Arizona, Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida, Congressman Louis Gohmert of Texas, and Congressman Scott Perry of Pennsylvania. The committee believes this is significant because they believe it suggests these lawmakers felt they could be in legal jeopardy, criminal jeopardy, for their role in assisting then-President Trump as he tried to overturn the 2020 election. Robert Costa, CBS News, Washington.
Well, now heading over to Wall Street on this Friday, the Dow closes up more than 824 points. Well, coming up here on First at 4, the head of the UN warns food shortages from Russia. The Russia-Ukraine war may lead to multiple famines.
Plus, it's summertime and it sure feels like it outside. The latest on the heat still to come and when we can see some cooling storms. It's coming up.